The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
On this week's Court TV podcast, the coronavirus continues to make an impact on our justice system, including the dating app murder trial. We'll update you on the latest in the case of Florida versus Andre Warner and another high-profile murder trial, California versus Robert Durst. And should high-risk individuals who are incarcerated be released to avoid exposure?
This is the Court TV podcast with Vinnie and Seema Iyer.
Welcome to another edition of Court TV's COVID-19 podcast, hosted by Vinnie and me, Seema Iyer. Hey, Smiley. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. We are in separate locations, but we can see each other, which is nice. Do we want to call this the COVID-19 podcast?
Because people might be I just keep calling it that because of the situation that's happening. So why don't we update the listeners? How have you handled the last week? How's your family? How's everybody doing?
Everybody's doing really well, and we're basically hunkered down, isolated from everyone, even from each other. Not even though we're a family and there's 4 of us living here, we're kind of living together separately, which is part of it. And I think if we all do our part, hopefully we can slow this all down. But it's different, it's strange, sure. But it's kind of weird getting used to it. And I don't know if I can ever not wear sweatpants.
I know that's what I'm wearing now. I have like a jazzy top because we're going to do our Facebook thing later. But yeah, no, I'm wearing sweatpants. It's great. How's your working out been? Have you still been running outside? I think it's saving me.
Absolutely.
Saving me.
I call it social distance running. I'm not a distance runner. I'm a social distance runner. So I'll go outside and stay away from people. And if they start coming near me, I run faster. So it's actually a good workout.
Yeah. So, I think I have to share this tip with everybody. So yeah, the running thing has really helped me a lot too. It's amazing. So I'm really desperate for my dumbbells to arrive because now we don't have the gym and my complex gym is closed. So I need some real dumbbells. So I'm still waiting for them to arrive. Amazon, I'm sure, is very backed up. So I added to my repertoire overhead presses with my coffee table.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm going to get jacked, Vinny.
By the way, I've sold memberships to my gym to the other family members here. They have to pay a membership fee to come in, but we already had something here, so we're doing well and using a lot of resistance bands. By the way, we're going to be back live on Court TV. We're not just a podcast; we're also on television on a national network called Court TV, and we're back on, and we're every night from 8 to 11 p.m. we are live bringing you those big stories from the world of justice, which are still happening, Seema. They absolutely are still happening. As a matter of fact, one of the things we're talking about, let's get right to it, where we've got another victim of the coronavirus in our system of justice, and it was the jury in the Andre Warner case, the jury that found him guilty of executing Adam Hilaire, was supposed to, at some point, sit in judgment and decide life or death for Andre Warner, but they have been dismissed now, so they are off the case.
Yeah, but who didn't see this coming? We were calling it every day. We came back to work and wondering, is this trial really going to go on? And every day it kept going on. And what we thought was there was no way it was going to get to the point where this same jury would be able to decide the penalty. I
think the judge was very optimistic and was just hoping and hoping that, hey, okay, this thing will clear up. But I think the writing's on the wall. Things are getting worse before they get better, and you can't just leave a jury lingering like that. There's too many other things going on in the world right now. Not fair to the jury, and I will say not fair to the criminal defendant, but the prosecutors apparently, I think, still wanted this jury to hang on because they liked the jury, because this jury found Andre Warner guilty.
Yeah, and you've seen this before, right, where a new jury has to do the penalty?
Yeah, in the Jodi Arias case, there was a second. There was a retrial.
I should know that, considering I'm talking about that on your primetime show tomorrow.
Exactly.
Thanks for reminding me.
There was a retrial because the first jury was hung, and they came back for a retrial just in the penalty phase. It also happens in cases where the appellate courts say, you know what, the judge or someone made a mistake during the penalty phase of the case, and then they retried just the penalty phase. So you have to bring in 12 new jurors who know nothing about the case to figure out whether or not someone lives or dies.
Okay, so here's my question. Is there a mechanism that allows this new jury to just read the transcripts of the trial so they don't have to go through the whole presentation of evidence again?
No, they've got to go through, somewhat of a presentation of evidence. And I've seen it done different ways. Sometimes you can enter some of the evidence in, some of the prior testimony you can enter into evidence. It'll be interesting to see how this judge does it or how the prosecutors do it, because prosecutors probably want real people testifying to get the real flavor for what happened here. So it'll be interesting. The other big choice here is the defendant. He testified in front of the first jury. They didn't believe him. So does he roll the dice again with a second jury to try to humanize himself?
I hope his lawyer, Bob Norgard, who's a great lawyer and who I really believe must have tried to say to him, don't do it, not gonna do it, not gonna testify, not again.
You're hoping for that?
I will. Listen, for my entertainment, I wanted to testify again. But
how about for justice? How about for justice? Don't you care about justice? Seema, don't you even care about justice?
Well, my entertainment precedes justice. But for justice's sake, I think that Andre Warner should not testify again, because I think he really has one of the best lawyers in the state of Florida. So let him do his job. He will win over this new jury.
So you see justice as life in prison, is what I'm taking from this. What I see as justice.
I know it's hard for. Go ahead.
I'm not saying. What I want is the jury to understand who this man is, and I think if he gets up on the stand, they get a much better flavor for that. But I could understand why a defense attorney like Norgard wouldn't want him up there, because I think when he reveals himself, he is not a nice, great person. There's something wrong with him.
Right. And as a defense attorney, yes, you're correct. I agree with that. But for me personally, as someone who was a prosecutor, was a defense attorney, I do believe in the death penalty. And I think this is an appropriate case for the death penalty because of the absolutely vile manner by which Andre Warner and his alleged co-defendant Gary Gray, killed victim Adam Hilaire. He was on his knees, this 27-year-old single dad, begging for his life, invoking his 5-year-old daughter. They stole that little gold bracelet that said daddy's little girl. I mean, this was disgusting, and he deserves the death penalty.
And they laughed about it afterwards on the ride home. That was the other part.
They laughed about it, right? And they I think they wanted to slit his throat, but the knife was too dull. I mean, the facts get worse and worse and worse. So we'll see how that plays out eventually when the penalty phase occurs. But up next, there's another one of our favorite defendants who's hanging on by a string, or at least trying to find out what happens with his delay, and that is the Jinx, Robert Durst. We're going to talk about his trial after this.
For more Court TV, watch it on cable, over the air, Roku, or go to CourtTV.com and stream live gavel-to-gavel coverage. Catch up on the big moments from our current cases and relive some of Court TV's most historic trials. Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Another defendant whose trial has been delayed midstream is Robert the Jinx Durst. Vinny, I am sure that you're not surprised about this, considering the state of California right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, they've waited 20 years. We can wait another month and a half.
Can he really? Have you seen the guy? Vinny, he's 76. He weighs 67 pounds. I don't know if he'll make another month. And coronavirus jails are a hotbed for coronavirus.
Yeah, well, I think that's the biggest question out there is how will he do, and how will all the members of the jury do? Hopefully, all of them remain healthy, and there are no complications. And I don't think we have necessarily a handle on all this, how it's all going to go down eventually, what the numbers will be. But hopefully, as many people as possible are safe, and especially when you talk about a case like this, the jurors, number one, the witnesses, the lawyers, the judge, all the courtroom personnel, and then ultimately the defendant as well. All hopefully can remain healthy so they can get back on track here. But I understand you have to take the time out. There's no way around it, because you cannot violate everything that every doctor is saying.
Sure. This is not just about the courts. It's not about California. It's not about the United States. It's a global pandemic, and we are all under a state of emergency like we've never experienced before. The trial, I believe it was suspended maybe the second week of March, and it was set to continue on April 6th. And now it will not continue until May 26th.
Yeah, but if any trial was ever set up for this, it's this jury, right? This is a jury that was ready to go, 5 months with this thing? So they've got nothing but time. I think that's going to work out well, hopefully. But we don't know.
Well, I want to throw something else out there, which I am concerned about, is that some of the members of this jury are, or maybe on the front lines right now. There is a pathologist, and of course, this is a doctor, someone who would not be in an ER. But as we know, in today's world, a lot of doctors in retirement, they're coming out of retirement to help out, doctors in different specialties. So let's say you have, my friend's a pulmonary guy, but he's helping out in the ER. So you have a lot of different doctors, just because they do have that training, who are helping out. So a member of the jury, like this pathologist, she may be helping out. Another member of the jury is a pharmacist, and we've heard these pharmacists they're working like 22-hour days now.
Yeah, doing amazing work and going to work. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like, we are home right now, and we are isolated. They are going to work because they are what you would call the essential people to keep society working and keeping the rest of the population healthy. And it's amazing. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they're on the front lines, and that is a huge risk, and it's going to take a toll on them as well.
Yes,
how are they going to feel on the back
it.
end of this? Are they going to be ready to sit there and listen to what's going on here?
Think about the emotional and psychological toll that people are going through. They just may not be in the mind state to sit through a trial.
Yeah, we've all spoken with jurors after murder trials, and we know how taxing it can be on jurors, the experience itself. Here you're talking about a long trial, how taxing that can be, but coming off of being on the front lines of this, and then going and sitting on a trial involving the alleged killing of or murder of 3 different people over the course of months. I don't know if they could do it, but maybe they can. Maybe for them it'll be a good diversion to get their mind off of it, but I don't know how you do it.
Do you think there's any way right now both sides are trying to talk plea?
What is the plea deal? This is the only plea deal I can think of for this case, is he has to come into court, admit killing all 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Admit it. Then be sentenced to, and I don't think prosecutors would go for it necessarily, but be sentenced to life at home. Life at home. He cannot leave his home.
Why not put him in prison?
That plea is not going to work. Why would he take that? Why would he take that plea? I'm trying to think of something that's potentially realistic.
Oh, that he would. Okay. So you think that there's no way he's going to take anything that involves prison time?
No, because whatever the prison sentence is, it's for the rest of his life. So the only thing that he may take would be, okay, I'm not in jail, but I'm in my house. Okay. Now, the only thing that prosecutors might take, and I think it would be a more difficult sell for them, would be, okay, he admits everything that he did, and he cannot leave his home. He is under that monitoring, and there have to be some sort of restriction of who can visit him, and he has to check in on Zoom. He's got to check in on Zoom every day. That's part of the penalty he has to pay.
That is a penalty because I am Zoomed out. Okay, Vinny? We've only been doing the Zoom stuff for, what has it been, 2 weeks? Between our like morning meeting, Zoom, our, hey, want to pitch stories? Zoom. Hey, what's going on in the segment tonight? Zoom. What'd you have for lunch? Well, we'll talk about it over Zoom. I'm Zoomed out. I can't do this anymore.
I was prepared for this. I was prepared for this because I would torture all my friends and family with FaceTime calls. My first call to them was always a FaceTime.
Wait,
Always. I always call my kids, my wife, my friends I grew up with, my brother.
Why do you think people want to look at your face? Why?
Them.
Why do you do that?
I'm a people person. I like to see people.
Well, okay. Well, you
and torture them a little bit.
You called me the other day FaceTime, and
yeah,
I didn't like that.
So I was prepared for this new world that we're in. I was prepared.
Okay.
So let's talk about this new world we're in. It's the coronavirus, and now you have this new phenomenon that is popping up in the celebrity world, which is all these incarcerated celebrities now want to use COVID-19 as a way to get out. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Follow Court TV live over the air, uninterrupted. If you're watching television with an antenna, just rescan your channels now to add Court TV. And go to CourtTV.com to see the exact channel position and more ways to watch Court TV in your area.
So don't put it past any celebrity criminal defendant to let the COVID go by without figuring out a way to use it. And we are seeing this amongst many celebrities saying, hey, this COVID-19 is a good reason why I should no longer be behind bars. And it's a fascinating issue, a fascinating subject. And I think there's a real discussion around it. I'm not saying that you get released because you are a celebrity, but I think this has opened the door to the discussion. And I think the ones that we're reading about, obviously, are the high-profile criminal defendants.
Yeah.
Can we begin with Bill Cosby?
Sure. Let's begin with him.
82 years old,
Yeah.
serving 10 years, is blind, apparently, and is incarcerated in a place where one of the corrections officers tested positive, and he has a lot of interaction with these corrections officers who have to go out into the community and then return, and who knows, one day they could carry the COVID with them, and Bill Cosby could get sick.
Exactly. So here's the issue with the celebrity factor is that they have the money to pay lawyers to investigate and make these motions for their release, right? Otherwise, if you are a convicted felon, you're in prison, you aren't going to be able to get a lawyer to do this for you. You have to do it pro se, right? Because the only way that you get a lawyer is for an appeal. You just don't automatically get a lawyer, right? So like if I am someone who cannot afford a lawyer, I am in prison, and I say, hey, I want to be released. I'm towards the end of my sentence, or in jail, towards the end of my sentence, coronavirus, blah, blah, blah. No lawyer can do that because it's not part of your right to counsel to try to get this type of release. Whereas with these celebrities, they can afford it. Now, what they really need to show, though, I think, this is my opinion, Vinny, is that there is some connection between their frail health that makes them more susceptible to getting coronavirus and therefore spreading coronavirus. So you want to be able to show that you are a danger to other prisoners. Why are you smiling?
Well, I was thinking about my favorite rapping artist. I believe he goes by the name Tekashi 6ix9ine.
That's your favorite?
Or something?
That's your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's exactly how you say the name, but he has asthma.
I thought Ice Cube was your favorite, considering he was on like Law and Order. I thought you would connect with Ice Cube more.
That's not Ice Cube, Seema. That is Ice-T.
Oh, that's Ice-T? Oh, I liked Ice Cube. Okay.
Cube is the one who used to be with the group that had the attitude.
Oh, NWA.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to put out there that I
Ice-T.
love LL Cool J. He is so hot. He is so
I met him.
smoking hot. How
I met
hot
him.
is he? And he's like your age.
Seema Iyer, picture this: Studio 54,
Tell me.
1987.
Really?
LL Cool J lowered from the Raptors with his Kangol and
Oh
his
my
red
gosh.
sweatsuit. And then after the show, he's just hanging out.
Really?
So, of course, I just go up and start talking to him. And he was brilliant.
Oh,
He was-
wow. Just like one DJ
and
to
this is-
another, just rapping.
Yeah, but this is when he was
DJ.
like 19 years old.
Oh,
and
you were a
and
DJ.
You talked to him for 5 minutes, you knew success was down the road for this guy. He had the whole world, mapped out for him, and it all came true. But getting back to
fine. We'll
Tekashi
get back to
6ix9ine,
your other rapper.
with asthma, only about 4 months left on his sentence, was denied.
And I am.
Are you shocked?
I am surprised about that because of that's a great point. That factor of how much is left in the sentence. Is it really so non-judicious to just let him out? Because you always have to balance. See, that's the issue. You always have to balance public safety. So if you look at the punishment, just 4 more months, as opposed to the public safety, to the other prisoners, to the guards, etc., release him.
All right. Well, let's talk about another recording artist you may be familiar with. People very close to him call him Robert.
Yeah.
But I still refer to him as R. Kelly.
It's your guy.
And the difference between R. Kelly and Bill Cosby and Tekashi and Michael Avenatti and Michael Cohen is that Robert Kelly, at this point, is still presumed innocent. He hasn't been convicted of anything. And he is locked up. He's recently recovered from surgery. He's 53 years old. What are your thoughts about R. Kelly? Is that someone in a pretrial phase that should get home confinement versus being in the general population in a jail?
I would want some type of medical or scientific proof that he is more prone to getting coronavirus because of his illness or what have you, and then therefore spreading it. And if he was allowed home confinement, obviously with an ankle bracelet and obviously without any of his lady friends, right? Because I think there's a girlfriend in here. I mean, he would have to be home confinement alone.
So you want to control not only him not leaving, but others not entering.
100%. Of course.
I think that'd be important. That'd be important.
Yeah.
Right. Except Uber Eats.
And wait, what is Ted Rollins called R. Kelly? A virus spreader.
Yeah. Well, and to me, I think that's a legitimate point to all of this, is why he is in jail, because of these interactions with women.
Yeah.
And what would prevent him? And unfortunately, I think you could see women being attracted to the bad boy R. Kelly, or the alleged bad boy R. Kelly.
It's sad. I don't want to even get into that because it's really, really sad, the psychological condition of these women who think they're attracted to him.
Do you think he gets out, though, R. Kelly? He's got a powerful attorney, Stephen Greenberg, filing motions for him. He's got to get the approval of more than one judge for all of this.
Yeah, that's the problem. I just don't think it's feasible because there's so many different jurisdictions involved. It's going to keep getting passed around from judge to judge to judge to get him out.
How about Harvey Weinstein?
Okay, Harvey Weinstein is a sentenced prisoner, as we know now. There were reports that he had coronavirus. His team has still neither confirmed nor denied that, so we do not know if that is true. I got a message from his publicist, Judah Engelmeyer, who said that he does not meet the criteria for release from prison, in that you have to be either a non-violent offender and or have already served more than 50% of your sentence. So Harvey's staying put.
He's staying put. He's not getting out, and hopefully they've got him isolated so he doesn't spread it, if in fact he has it, which has been reported by Associated Press and others, but not confirmed nor denied by his team and his publicist. So we'll see. And celebrities, if they did get out, it would make huge headlines, and I think that's almost a check mark against them, is that the judge doesn't want to be the one being outed as letting someone out who is a celebrity. So there, I think the celebrity factor plays against them.
Yeah. Us Magazine should do one of those like celebrities just like us, like as R. Kelly walks out of jail, or not just like us, Harvey Weinstein in the big house. Okay. All right. So we got to talk more about what is happening with our justice system. A lot going on outside of court TV. And the question that is on a lot of lawyers' minds is, how will the courts start to back up if we don't get them back up and running? We're going to talk about that after this.
For more Court TV, watch it on cable, over the air, Roku, or go to CourtTV.com and stream live gavel-to-gavel coverage. Catch up on the big moments from our current cases and relive some of Court TV's most historic trials. Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Across the country right now, courts are generally closed, only open for emergencies, arraignments, and this is all being done by video. So trials, backing up, people sitting in jail, rotting away in jail, witnesses can be lost. Vinny, what other problems do you see happening as the courts are backing up?
Here's what I think might be one of the biggest problems. Okay, so here we are in the midst of it, right? So they've shut down, and Court TV, we focus a lot on jury trials, right? And that's your Sixth Amendment. You have a right to a jury trial, and criminal defendants who are facing life in prison, the death penalty, whatever, generally choose to have a jury hear their case. So when does that start up again? And how does it start up again? At what point are members of the public comfortable going down, sitting in a room with, 150 other strangers, right, all day long, and then sitting in a box with 11 other strangers all day long, and then arguing with 11 strangers in a little room for 2, 4, 3 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, whatever it takes to reach a verdict? To me, that's the big question. That's the unknown here. At what point will members of the public be comfortable fulfilling their civic duty of sitting as jurors? And I don't know the answer to that one.
I think it could be many, many, many months. And in an effort to clear up the calendars, I know that many jurisdictions have appointed prosecutors to work with defense attorneys to come up with dispositions to get people out of the jails or plead guilty as opposed to waiting for a trial. And then they just get sentenced by video conference or by some other means, Zoom, Skype, and then they get sent, to prison from jail. So I think that is a great tool that's being utilized to clear these calendars. But some people are just, they're not going to. Right. They're not going to plead guilty. And I don't know, how many offers are being made for violent felons. But here's the other, just, as a criminal defense attorney, a lot of what I did was investigating, right? So myself and the investigators, you're going to crime scenes, and some of these crime scenes are scary and not clean.
Now, when you went to a crime scene, Seema, would you wear like a trench coat?
No, I would literally wear like what I'm wearing now, like a trackies, like a tracksuit.
I picture you in like a trench coat with some sort of hat and maybe like a magnifying glass, looking for clues.
And you don't think that would kind of stick out in a crack house? Who's that broad in a trench coat and high heels? No. I would wear like trackies.
No, that's a different scenario. The trench coat and high heels is not the scenario where you're investigating a crime.
Okay, all right.
There you may actually be committing a crime.
But this is a practical dilemma that I think a lot of lawyers, both prosecutors and defense attorneys and investigators, is that you can't investigate crime scenes. You can't go anywhere. There's very, and this is so different than so many industries. I mean, even us, we're able to tell stories, do reporting, put together pieces for our viewers and our listeners now through remote means. But in the criminal justice system, to investigate crime, you have to be on the ground. You have to be looking and touching and feeling and being around people. And this I don't even know how you're going to lose people too. You're going to physically lose witnesses, and God forbid people die.
This is a huge problem. I don't even think we're thinking about all the potential implications this has. But at the end of the day, I think all of it is advantage criminal.
Okay, I agree with you. I think if I had to pick who's more advantageous on a global scale, it would be the criminals. But think about this. Think about the fact that you have one witness, like your alibi witness, and then they die of coronavirus.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Most criminal defendants don't have an alibi. Why?
What are you talking about?
Because
how can you make blanket statements? What is wrong with you?
I'm not saying suspects. I'm saying criminal defendants, those who've already been indicted.
I cannot believe you're actually saying these words.
What % really have been wrongfully? This is not Law and Order where they arrest the first person and it's always wrong.
Well,
Law and Order, the first person who gets arrested, we know is not guilty.
I am on a quest to change your mind, and the good thing is I get to do it on your primetime show because I'm going to be bringing you wrongful conviction cases, and I'm going to be convincing you.
Actual wrongful convictions or people who say they are wrongfully convicted? Those are different species.
I'm going to bring you evidence. Listen, you'll hold my feet to the fire. I'm going to bring you stories, and you're going to question them, and we're going to talk about it. But that's a great. Listen, it's a great point. But I think you're right. I think we're not even thinking about all the facets of the criminal justice system and the court system that are being affected by this. I mean, think about it. Court reporters, the court officers. Just so I actually, I was a DA in the Bronx, a prosecutor in the Bronx, and very sad to hear that one of the court officers is in the hospital with coronavirus. So everybody's being affected.
It's bad. It's absolutely horrendous, and the impacts are everywhere. But I think at the end of the day, when there are delays, when people are missing, when you can't gather all the evidence, I think it's advantage criminal defendants. The only people who are not advantaged right now are burglars. Because you're not breaking in. Every house is filled with people now. So you cannot break into a house when people aren't home, which is what a burglary is.
Okay, so here's my question. Do burglars, are they entitled to the stimulus check?
Yeah, probably. Probably, right? They're out of work. The only downside is burglars will have to change into home invaders because they'll need a weapon because they're going to have to come across all the people inside the house. But hopefully that does not happen. But as Seema said, she was talking about the stories we're covering now. What we're doing during all of this, we've got a primetime show on Court TV on our national network from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. every night. We are live bringing you great true crime stories and uncovering things that are happening in our system of justice. But to watch us, if you have a digital antenna and you have not rescanned it recently, you're home now, you have time to do it, rescan it, and then guess what? It's very likely that Court TV will now show up on your menu of options that you have on your digital antenna.
Nothing but time to rescan, folks. And also, please be safe, be smart. We're all in this together. We'll see you on the television, and we'll talk to you next week, right?
Yep. See you later, folks.
This podcast is a production of Court TV. Go to CourtTV.com for more content, trials on demand, and to find out how to watch Court TV in your area.